Some news of the Supreme Court and the issue of marital rape. Now, the Supreme Court indicated that it would hear the centre's stand on pleas regarding criminalizing marital rape. The Chief Justice said that if the union government did not want to file a response on petitions seeking the criminalization of marital rape, it would have to present oral arguments on the tenets of the law when the case comes up for hearing in the top court. Now, it's not been listed yet, but this is for when it does come up. This is after Senior Advocate Indira Jaising orally requested the bench headed by Chief Justice Chandrachud to fix a specific date for hearing the case. Now, so far, neither under the old Indian Penal Code nor under the new Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita that has replaced the IPC is marital rape a criminal offence. The BNS has even provided immunity from prosecution to a husband accused of raping his wife who is above 18 years. And on an earlier occasion, the centre, represented by Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, had said that the case posed legal ramifications as well as societal viewpoints. So that is so far what has been said by the centre in the court on this issue. Well, to talk more about this, we're joined by Khushbu Jain, advocate in the Supreme Court, and Sana Rais Khan, also a lawyer in the Supreme Court. And Khushbu Jain, first your comments on this. So the Supreme Court not giving a date just yet, but given that, the centre still has to put its opinion, they're saying that as and when it does come up, then the centre can, orally argue on the matter or give its points of view regarding the pleas.
Absolutely. See, if you look into, you started with that both the laws, the earlier one and the one which is BNS, which has replaced the earlier IPC, both the laws do not consider marital rape as a punishable offense. It's an exception when it comes to category of a rape. How rape is defined over there, there's an exception too in both the acts, which says that rapes are not considered, marital rape are not considered as an offense. But if you look into how did it started, it started 1847. There was a draft by Lord McLuhan, and that draft was the one which was being put across, and IPC came into existence and India adopted the same. Now this Matthew Hall, he gave a statement. He said that he had an idea that it is an implied consent by a married woman, which is there and which continues. And this is made to protect the conjugal rights of the husband. Now, if I have to put it across in a very layman language, it states that the husband cannot be guilty of the rape by their mutual matrimonial consent and the contract the wife has given up herself in the kind to the husband. So practically, we are considering today also that the moment you enter into a contract, into a marriage, that's where you give up all your rights as a person. You give up all your rights and you become a property. So to go away in today's scenario, we cannot continue. If I have to quote it, doctrine of coverture, it says that woman has no individual legal identity after marriage, and this is the one which is there, and this was being discussed in Supreme Court as well when they struck down adultery as a criminal offense in 2018. So today is where we are talking about that we need to have a approach that is to move forward, to understand the scenario today that women are not considered as a property, or just by getting married, you don't give away your right. The right when it comes to consent, explicit consent,
right,
the right over your body.
Absolutely. And so far, what we do know of the centre's mind, Solicitor General Tushar Mehta had said regarding this matter that it posted legal ramifications as well as societal viewpoints. I remember earlier when Maneka Gandhi was also a union minister, she also said that the society is not ready for criminalization of, this marital rape issue. So Sana Rais Khan, if you can, tell the viewers, what are these concerns that the government has?
See, the only change in the BNS from IPC has been increase in the wife's age from 15 to 18 years to avail the exception. But as beautifully observed by the Karnataka High Court, a man is a man, an act is an act, and rape is a rape. Be it performed by a man, the husband, on the woman wife, and that is how it is. So how can rape within the marital bond be justified? Rape is a rape, and marriage is not a license to rape. So arguments like protection of sanctity of family life and undermining the institution of marriage, which has been cited by government in the past, cannot justify rape, ignoring the lived realities of countless women. So, of course, the fundamental principle of consent applies to all sexual relationships, and marital status should not negate a partner's right to withdraw consent. So, an essential ingredient to prove the crime of rape is to prove lack of consent. So, recognizing marital rape as a crime would affirm women's autonomy and at the same time the right to bodily integrity. Many countries have criminalized marital rape, reflecting a global shift towards recognizing and protecting individual rights within marriage. So I believe that criminalization can, of course, foster healthier relationships by promoting discussions about consent and respect between the parties. And of course, legal recognition can serve as a deterrent also at the same time, which may lead
No,
to
right,
more educational
absolutely.
programs.
But Sana Khan, if you can explain to us what the government's concerns are when they go on about this societal issue and saying society is not ready. What are these concerns they have? If just for the viewer's sake, if you can tell us.
Regarding the marriage, yes, regarding preserving the sanctity of marriage, and of course, the marriage as a whole institution will be undermined if it gets criminalized. But at the same time, you have to look at the realities of these women who are, who are in helpless, deplorable condition. That they are going through anxiety, depression, traumatic experience, just under the garb of under the garb of marriage being termed as a contract. It gives consent. It implies consent for to the subject, and they're subjected to consent of being harassed and also raped under the garb of marriage. So that has to be looked into widely and under all practical consideration, is what my view is. Certainly, marriage, as I said, marriage. I mean, it cannot be a license to rape.
Right, no, absolutely. Khushbu Jain, your comments on that also, these concerns over misuse, but just because a law could be misused does not mean we don't give women that protection. And the reason that, this has to be dealt with, sooner rather than later by the Supreme Court. Also, you've had two different high courts giving two different opinions, the Delhi High Court and, as quoted by Sana Khan there, the Karnataka High Court.
Absolutely. See, the problem that comes till now was the aspect that there would be an aspect of misuse. And if you talk about marriage, unlike any other rape, there is a delicate balance that has to be taken care of, because you don't talk about limitation when it comes to complaining in rape matters. And when you're living together, it should not be utilized as a tool for for vengeance or for revenge or something like that. So just to look into that aspect, I think it's a high time that we need to have a law in place, so that there is a safeguard against the misuse, along with recognizing this as a crime. Now, when I talk about safeguards, I think there has to be clear definitions, explicit definitions as to what exactly do you understand by marital rape, how it is distinguished itself from a consensual rape and relationship. And it can also have less ambiguity in it. Now, so that, only the genuine cases are the one which are being persecuted, and not the others which are just for the sake of revenge or for getting some other aspects to it, and bringing up those false cases into it. The other one that can come is there should be a consent framework where we can have necessity of all consent when it comes to sexual encounters, regardless of your marital status. Apart from that, you can have a robust evidence requirement. Now, burden of proof in legal system should maintain, it's maintained as one of the highest thing, and that's where we ensure that the persecution presents credible evidence to support the claim of marital rape. Now, there can be medical reports, there can be witness testimonies, but in marital rape, there would be a problem when it comes to witness testimony. But rape clubbed with a lot of other things which are there, abuse, the language, the other thing which can be part of it, there can be a lot of corroborative evidence along with medical reports over there. Now, there can be documentations, there can be other things. Plus, apart from this, there should be a lot of judicial oversight and training that has to be given if you're dealing with matters like this. As I said, we cannot overlook one person, one woman also is, if it's going through that. It has been said by UN in its report, the World Report, not India report, where they say that home is one of the dangerous places for women to live. So we cannot overlook that aspect. And as rightly said by Sana also, that we see a lot of women going through the suffering, and that suffering is endless, where they cannot even complain. So that's where I think we need to bring in that delicate balance, that it doesn't get misused by people, but the women in need are being protected, and that law has to come.
Absolutely, and hopefully sooner than later. Sana Rais Khan, what are your hopes here? Do you think it will be heard before, the Chief Justice, Chandrachud, he's due to retire also soon. Given that the Delhi High Court had given a split decision on this, a split verdict in 2022, one of the judges felt that Section 375 was unconstitutional. The other felt this is a matter for Parliament.
Yes, absolutely. I feel it will be heard within time, and I feel that Supreme Court will uphold the constitutional rights in view of especially the prevalent issues related to women, especially in the recent times. And I feel that criminalization will definitely empower victims and, of course, victims' wives to come forward without the fear of judgment, and that will only change the societal perceptions about marriage and sexual rights, fostering a culture of respect.
That's right. Final word, Khushbu Jain, your hopes on this? Do you feel it will happen sooner rather than later?
Absolutely. See, we are not in that age today, the one which was there by the Britishers when they were in the year 1800s, where they were drafting these things and where women were considered as a property. And by the virtue of it, you give away all your rights as an individual just because you've got married. We are not in that age today. We need to bring in, our laws are changing with the time. We have seen how laws are changing with respect to adultery, with respect to rights when it comes to property matters, and so on and so forth. So I think it is the time that we need to recognize this, because that's happening. Just by closing our eyes doesn't mean that it's not happening. But again, as I said, a delicate balance has to be there. We need to have enough and more of safeguards so that misuse of the law coming in is being taken care of, all the protections are taken care of.
All right, Khushbu Jain and Sana Raiz Khan, thank you so much for joining us here. And yes, hopefully it will happen sooner than later. The time really has come that marital rape was criminalized and women were protected. With